join us here today at the lovely Lake John Fisheries on the Midweek Open. It's a place that I haven't been to in many years, but it's a prolific venue, great venue. It's predominantly silvers and carp, and it's just something that I wanted to test myself with, something a little bit different, out of the norm from the usual carping we've been doing all summer, and see how we fare. We've given you guys the opportunity to ask me some questions today, and hopefully I'll be able to answer in the best possible way. Also, if you stick around to the end of the video, there'll be a great chance to win some prizes from some of the tackle I've used today. So we've got here now, we've had a walk around the lake, had a look at a few different sorts of areas. The sort of deeper side of the lake tends to be that side. This side of the lake apparently is the shallower side. There's a few lovely looking pegs. Ideally, it'd be nice to draw on the island where we've got an option then to fish a rod and line for some carp, and then maybe just, if we, like middle part of the match, look to catch some silvers to bolster your weight. There's a few areas that are away from the island that I don't think is going to be real carp dominated, so I think there is going to be, you have to get your head down and catch what you can. I think you're going to need carp now with your silvers today to bolster a weight to win. I mean, like the last few Wednesdays from what I've seen have been £150 been winning matches. So I mean, I get it, but in the heights of summer, the record here is £249 of just silvers. So it's prolific. You can catch a big weight if you're on the right pegs on the right day. And yeah, it'd just be nice that hopefully we get the right draw today and we can get the most out of our peg. So at the draw, we've picked out peg 35 today. I don't know the venue very well, but according to the guys at the draw, it's a good peg. As you see, I've got an island chuck there, which is going to be good. The sunshine today, I mean, for October, the weather is absolutely brilliant today. It's going to be very warm. So I think carp's going to play a big part in the match. I think I'm going to need carp as well as some skimmers and bream to bolster a weight. So I'm going to look to try and catch a few carp early on a bomb and a tea bag. I'm going to feed a couple of pole lines. I've got some nice rushes to my left close in that I'll feed with ground bait and worms, as I will do at 13 metres. It's a good idea as well that I've got the island chuck, because it'll give that a little bit of time to settle. I can have an hour on that, maybe nick a few carp, and then go in and have a look on that and see what sort of response I get on the ground bait and worms and casters. And that's pretty much going to be the match, I think, today. With the weather the way it is, I've got a bit of scope, I've got casters with me. If I feel that this venue as well is predominantly, you can catch a lot of fish shallow. So if I feel that that's the way it's going to go, I can always start loose feeding casters and come up. But as the day goes on, I can feel my way in and see what I feel is going to be the best way to go about it. So come the end of the match, after the weigh-in, I'm going to give you a rundown on all the lines we've fished today. Everywhere I've caught, I feel like I've excelled, and everywhere that I feel like I might have improved if I'd done something slightly different. Right, before this match starts now, I'd like you to pause the video, head down to the comments below, and type in a weight that you feel that I'm going to catch today, and we'll see how close you are at the end. So we're an hour into the match. It's been a bit of a slow start. Nothing's really happened at the minute. I've fed my pole lines at the start, given them a chance to rest. I've gone on the bomb and bag, and just trying to nick an odd carp, a big carp in here when you get them. But I've had like one, felt like a skimmer or a bream come off. It wasn't a big fish. But again, nothing's really happening. I've seen a couple of carp come out, individual fish. So I think it's still anyone's game. I feel like now maybe I'm going to give this another 5 minutes. If nothing happens, then start trying to put some fish in the net on the pole lines. It might be a day for that where the carp don't feed, and you know, you need to catch these silvers. I can always then keep my eyes out of people who are still fishing for carp, start catching them. I can always pick it up and try and catch one then, but I think this is going nowhere at the minute. So I think it'll be time to have a look on the pole and see what I can start catching.
midway through the match now. It's still been quite hard really. Even the skimmers ain't really feeding a great deal. I mean, I've caught sort of 6 or 7 good skimmers, a few small ones. The lake's not fishing great, to be honest. I mean, it seems as though whoever's caught is catching carp. Not loads, but they're big enough that it seems that I need to be catching quicker, really. It seems to be better. We started getting a few more bites by just sort of topping up with small balls after every other fish, something like that. They seem to be getting a better response. I started trying to loose feed some casters. Never really made a difference. Never got any liners to say any fish were coming up. It never really got me any more bites. So I think it's just at the minute I'm quite happy to plug away as I am and just fingers crossed no one really starts to catch a lot of carp, because there's not hardly any silvers from what I can see coming out at the minute. So I think I've still been feeding the bomb and bag line, just so if I need to I can pick it up and have a chuck now and again. But at the minute it's just plug away and see what happens. Like, we've been feeding this edge line along the rushes with the same ground bait and some worms and casters. Had a couple of looks and caught a couple of perch, had an odd skimmer, a roach. So I think that could come good later. We've been topping that up. I think it's just going to be a case of hopefully they rock up and we can catch some fish like that. So now we've caught a few skimmers. I think it's just every now and again just top it up with a nice ball of ground bait. Just get them back, and they seem to have come straight back in on the feed, so which is a good thing. I just don't want to go too mad with it and end up messing it up completely. So I think sort of a nice little ball every 2 or 3 fish seems to be the right way to go at the minute. Just entering the last hour of the match now. It's been hard is an understatement. It's been really, really difficult all day. It's just been one of them. I haven't really fancied catching a carp, to be honest. There's been no sort of real signs of carp right in front of this island, whether the bright conditions, and it's been really warm today but flat calm. Whether that's made a difference, I don't know. But we've just sort of plugged away really. I'm starting to get a few bites on my inside line now. Again, they're not big fish, but you know, I've had some nice roach, a couple of nice skimmers, and it's just been a case of just sort of trying to catch anything that swims now. I think that's going to be my best bet. I don't feel like I'm a million miles away, but I feel like if I was to fish for a carp now and don't catch one, you know, I could have another 10 pound down here this last sort of hour, and that could always be the difference between framing. You know, I think winning's sort of gone now. You know, I needed to catch them couple of carp early for that to have been the case. So I think now it's just going to be a case of, you know, if I can get a frame in place or a section, it is going to be job well done from a difficult sort of day. So just fingers crossed now for this last hour, I can nick a few more silvers. Maybe an odd carp late, you never know.
So match is finished now. With an hour to go, we was sort of going nowhere really. I was fishing down the edge, was catching some fish on worms and casters, only roach though, small roach, an odd little perch, and sort of with 35 minutes in the match to go, sort of had a decision to make, either go for carp or bust, which I've decided in the end that would be the right way to go, as I didn't feel that another 3 or 4 pound of bits was going to be any good in the match. Luckily, I've gone on the tea bag. 10 minutes later, we've had one 18 pound, which has really boosted the weight. The trouble is here at Lake John, anything over 10 pound just counts for 10 pound. So the carp's gone back, and we've got 10 pound. And we've also had a skimmer about 2.5 pounds. So I mean, in that last sort of half an hour, another 12-13 pounding in there has really made a difference. It's something we wouldn't have caught anywhere else down the edge or on the other lines, so it was a decision well made. And they're the decisions in fishing that sometimes make a massive difference. If you're in team matches, it's a decision that could get you an extra 2 or 3 points in a section that might be really tough. In a match, it could be like get you just in the frame. You might just sneak in the frame as opposed to being 7th or 8th in the match. It's definitely a decision today that's boosted me up. It's fished really hard today, rock hard, a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Maybe we've been a little bit too positive on other lines. Again, looking back, it could have been maybe been a little bit negative on a couple of lines, so I could have rested and nicked and gone on another one. But yeah, it's just like today again. I'm not too sure. I think carp's won it. I think I'm up there with what silvers have been caught. I don't think anyone's caught sort of any more silvers than what I've had. So I think it's just another couple of carp and I'd have been right in the mix. But still, it's been an interesting day, so can't grumble. So we're just about to do the weighing in now. Once that's all out of the way, I'll let you know what I've had and how we've got on in the match, and then we'll talk you through exactly where I've caught, what I've done, the rigs I've used, and how I've gone about it. So we've weighed in now. We've ended the match with 36 pounds. I think it's 10 ounces, something like that. It's not, in the grand scheme of things, it's not been no good in the match, but it's been close. It's been a good match. I think around 48 pounds going to be second in the match. So, I mean, it's one fish, a carp. I've had one putback carp late, where I've gone on, just made a decision to fish the rest of the match on the bomb and bag. It's gone round once. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, the way it's gone, I kind of get the feeling now that maybe I should have done that all match. It's not fished well, the skimmers haven't fed. I mean, it was quite apparent that I fished for an hour for carp and never had a bite. The guy about 3 pegs to my left has started for 6 skimmers and he's caught quite well. And it's tailed off, and I've noticed that when I've gone on my lines after an hour, which I was happy to do to let them settle, I feel that it's just petered out and gone completely. Even fishing past your feed, in and around your feed with maggots, just not getting no bites, no indications. And I feel that maybe, in hindsight, it's a great thing that I could have maybe caught a few more skimmers early and then fished the remainder part of the match for carp and maybe caught a few more. I mean, the guys either side of me have fished for carp all day long, and the guy to my right's had 3, the guy to my left's had none. So there's not been a great deal of carp there. It's just been a case of, you know, late on maybe I would have just like nicked an odd one, and that's all it's been today. 2 more fish and straight away, you know, you're into sort of second place. I'll just quickly run you through the tactics and the rigs I've used and why I've used them. Starting the match on the tea bag to the island, such a simple method. I prepare all my bags at home. Just makes it so easy. While you're fishing, you can get another hook length, prep another bag, so you clip on, clip off. Just saves time. There's just more time in the water, more chance of a bite. Like I say, I sort of knew the right was on the wall early, really, because there was no signs from skimmers. Usually you can chuck that, and if you're not catching the carp, you can start catching some skimmers on it. But there was just no signs on it, no liners, no nothing. So that was sort of writing on the wall, really, that there weren't a great deal of carp feeding or fish in general feeding. Onto the second line, I've fished 13 metres, where I've fed initially 3 balls of ground bait with some worms, casters, a few dead maggots. That rig's been a 4x14. I've had about 4.5 foot there. I've had 2 rigs for this. I've had a 4x14 wire stem. Although it's been real bright and it has been calm, it's been quite gusty at times, so I've opted for, on that heavier rig, a slightly bigger hook. I've used an F1 Pellet, slightly wider gate, better for worms. Yeah, just with that wire, just a bit more stability. And then I've had another rig which has been a 4x12's carbon stem strung out just for flicking, so I can just sort of flick my bait past and then you can just fish through the water, pick up. I've caught on that, but mainly small fish. There's not really been sort of anything where it's been like caught any better fish watching the bait down. It's not been right, really. I've had a shallow rig set up. I've started loose feeding casters, but waste of time, never had any liners on it, or never seemed to draw many more fish into me peg. And then the last rig I've had, I've just sort of fished up towards the sedges, 6 metres. Again, this rig's been quite a positive rig with slightly heavier elastic, and just in case I hooked any carp, because you can hook some carp down the edge. Same, a 4x14 wire stem, just a bulk and a dropper, and a 16 F1 pellet with little pieces of worm or double maggot. And that's really been the rigs for the day. Looking back on it now, possibly I felt like maybe a pellet line somewhere. I've gone down the worm casters ground bait route today, and I feel that maybe a pellet line could have nicked me a few fish. Maybe in the afternoon it's an impact thing, a change. Whereas the morning they sort of drifted away from the ground bait. A switch to a pellet line might have just, you know, caught me a little burst of fish that would have made a difference. But like I say, it's just like going back on that tea bag the last 40 minutes, I've had one. Another day that could be 4, and you know, and that's enough. It's just this one of them things, and it's been an interesting match. I've learnt a lot myself today, and yeah, it's been very good.
Here you go, Will. Section winner.
Oh, look at that. A man with surprises. Thank you very much, Cole.
Well
Cheers,
done, mate.
Thank
Nice
you.
one.
I'm super excited to be the first person to do the new 1 minute masterclass. I'm a massive believer in my fishing that preparation is key. Work you put in at home is almost as important as the work you put in on the bank. I find the more prepared you are, the easier it is when you're on the bank. I have endless hooks tied, as you can see. It's just every eventuality I've got it covered. So I know when I'm fishing that if I feel that something's right or not quite right, I can switch and I can get onto something else. I've always got it to hand. I'm not left wondering, oh, that could be good today, and I haven't got it. I like to make sure it's all there ready. As for rigs, it's the same. It looks excessive, and some people might think it's excessive, but I just have it all tied up. So if I get a situation where I've got a rig that I find not quite right, I've always got another. If I have a rig that I don't get on with, or I have accidents with tangles, I've got one to hand. I'm not left without nothing. And there's different rigs for different things, and it's easier for me to catch more fish if I've got the gear that's right. What got me hooked on fishing, my whole family, we're a bit known for it, the Reynolds family. There's a lot of us that go fishing. All started with my granddad, he got us all into it. And my dad, I mean, I've always looked up to my dad in angling. He's one of the best anglers in my eyes. He's fished at the highest level throughout the years, and you know, I've learned, well, everything I've learned has come from him and the rest of the family, my uncle and everything like that. So, and once I was into it, I've just loved it ever since. A product I wouldn't be without would be my hook box. I mean, it's just, I like to be on the bank I have so many hooks tied that if you need to change a hook, if something's slightly blunt, or you get a breakage, or you think you need to have a slightly bigger hook or a lesser diameter, I just have everything in there, so I've always got it to hand that I can change, make that quick change on the bank, and it could lead to a few more fish in the net. My best tips for a young angler would be a sponge. Take it all in, do as much watch, ask questions after questions. When I grew up, I was the same, I was just watching people like all the time. Just feel like you could be a pain in the backside at times, just to ask people that, and you just take it all in, and that's probably my best advice for that. Structure to a match is different really. It varies from match to match and venue to venue. Also the weather plays a massive part in fishing, like a huge part. Like today here where we've been today, I've looked to feed, because I'm fishing for skimmers, I like to give that a little bit of time from the initial feed for them to settle. So yeah, an hour on a lead or a method or something like that, just to give that, and then look on your pole lines for a couple of hours where you might start catching some silvers. And then like your edge lines come into play, or you might want to go back on your rod and line. But like I say, it's just, you just think of the venue that you're at, the fish you're fishing for, and the weather conditions, and that sort of all comes into play. Oh come on Jimbo, you know I've got you in my back pocket all the time, mate. Like we said earlier, and we don't like to disappoint here at Tackle Guru, we want to give you a chance to win some of the gear that I have used throughout the session today. All you need to do to win these wicked little prizes is like, subscribe and comment done, and then you'll be in with a chance to win. Well, I'd really like to thank you for watching, and I hope what I've done today, you might be able to pick up little tips and tricks for the next time you're out there to help with your fishing.